All right, free radicals, welcome to the Radical Independent. My name is Dave. Thanks for tuning in. So Donald Trump gave a speech on Saturday in Arizona where he finally got the message from his base, which is no mandates, stop selling these inoculations to everybody, stop saying you're the godfather of saving the planet when there's a lot of evidence coming in to the contrary. I read The Art of the Deal. I did so as a research kind of idea. I wanted to sort of get into his brain. And he's a guy that just doesn't admit when he's wrong. It's part of the art of the deal. You have to show strength, and you can never let them know that you're wrong. And he's getting some really bad advice out there, and he believes in it. He's doing a lot of bad endorsing, and I don't know if he understands that people are scrutinizing things more so than he is in some areas. So when he sat down with O'Reilly and told everybody, yeah, I got my jetpack booster, and O'Reilly, he's touting it as well because, they want money apparently from pharmaceutical companies. I think that's what it, I don't know. The logic of it is a little sketchy, but there's always another thing going on with Donald Trump. And a lot of people take that to mean, oh, he's playing 3D chess and he's got all these ideas. And I sit there and go, I don't think he's playing 3D chess. I think he's just trying to, he's trying to sort of walk this balance beam tightrope thing, and it doesn't always look pretty. And the thing he did with O'Reilly, I mean, he's not going to appeal to anybody on the left. It's just ridiculous to even do that. What's happening is the country is now forced, and don't take this the wrong way if you love Trump, they are forced to take the lesser of the two evils because you're not getting great choices. But Trump is better than Biden. Okay, he is better. This isn't a Democrat-Republican thing. This is, can I have freedom? And this speech was a good speech because he talked about how mandates are destroying the economy, how mandates are destroying the country. I don't know if he got into how mandates are destroying your psychological profile. All right. I mean, people are, this is why the term, mass formation psychosis is a big deal right now, because people have just been taught now for 2 years that this is your life and you're going to have to deal with it. This is why people are outside alone in the sunshine. And I saw it again yesterday here in the state of Florida. Actually, it was Saturday. It wasn't yesterday. Yesterday, we had some nasty weather move through. But on Saturday, I'm witnessing this all over the place. Single people, nobody around, and they're wearing a medical device on their face. All right, a cloth one at that. And I'm not going to go into all of the science there, the supposed science, but I just wonder what's wrong with those people. And rather than seeing less of it, I'm seeing more of it. So this stuff needed to be addressed at this rally because I don't see any other political figure coming along. As people know on this channel, I am a huge Tulsi Gabbard fan. And Tulsi has been out there saying amazing things, talking about, ramping up war in Ukraine versus Russia, and then we're going to go to war against Russia. Tulsi is the best on that stuff. Tulsi understands the whole warfare state. She's the best, other than Ron Paul, and Ron Paul is the best, but he's not in the public arena the way Tulsi Gabbard is. And, she satisfies most of my libertarian tendencies. Some people will call her out as a big government leftist because she was into things like Medicare for all, but she had a different program, which wasn't necessarily Medicare for all. She always left the ability to choose in there. I think if she were smart, she'd reevaluate those views. because who's administering this program? And the mandates, by the way, continue for CMS workers, which is absolutely insane. I can see that whole thing collapsing, especially when they know, if I go over to the private sector, I'll have to deal with this. But if I basically work for this government agency, I'm going to have to do what they tell me to do. So Trump really hit the ball out of the park talking about mandates. And it's about damn time, right? Because he's it. Whether you like him or not, who else? I mean, yes, Ron DeSantis comes to mind. I don't think DeSantis wants to run for president. I think he wants to try to win re-election. I think he knows that Florida has got to be like a safe haven for people, almost like a sanctuary state for freedom-loving Americans. And he's got to keep this state open for business. The housing market down here is booming, even though prices are skyrocketing. Housing starts all over the place where I live. And quite honestly, in a very large area, you can't really go to a place in Florida and not see new houses being built, whether you like, the northern part of the state or the southernmost part of the state. I mean, it's all pretty much on fire when it comes to new houses being built, which fire and houses don't really make sense there, but you can kind of get my analogy. Did Trump make his base happy? Yes, he really did. I've gotten feedback from people who love Trump, and I said, look, he had to do this. If he didn't do it, if he was going out there like with the Bill O'Reilly thing again, and he was going to tout the genius move that he made, Operation Warp Speed, if he was going to talk that way, people were going to tune him out and say he's just like them. He really emphasized how these mandates are destroying the country, the economy, and he really railed hard against it. So good for him for doing that. Look, I know there are a lot of people out there that are like, okay, Dave, I mean, you just can't make up your mind about anything. And that's true. That's why the channel is the Radical Independent and not the Radical Conservative or the Radical Liberal or the Radical Libertarian, because I don't know. I'm just trying to navigate this politically. There may not be a political solution to these problems. I mean, to put your faith, hope, and trust in Trump is doing the same thing that we always do, right? Did Trump drain the swamp in DC? No, he did not. He tried a little bit, but then, again, you surround yourself with guys like John Bolton, and then you fire him, and it's okay. Yeah, you fired one guy. I mean, he never fired Fauci. He should have. He could have. He never fired Fauci. He talked about it if he got reelected that he might do it, but he never did it. And he had the power to do it. He should have done it. Maybe Biden would have hired him back, but that would have been even more symbolic. Here's the guy that Trump fired. Now you've got this continuation of both Trump and Biden and Fauci, and that kind of looks like they're all playing the same game. So again, I find fault with a lot of things that he does. I think there's some nepotism going on with Jared Kushner, who shouldn't be calling anything in the Trump administration. He should be opening doors for the people, letting them in and out of buildings. That's about the only job I would. The same thing with Ivanka. Just get her out of there. She's a Manhattan liberal, right? And this is, she's neoliberal in her thinking. Why would you include her in the decision-making process? This isn't The Apprentice. This is, life or death, war and peace, and look, again, my favorite political character person, on the scene is Tulsi Gabbard by a mile, because she would appeal to all people across the board. She's not bombastic. She's not gratuitous when she gets angry. It's a righteous indignation. It's a well-informed, well-spoken, well-presented righteous indignation. She's been on talking about a lot of topics: the tyranny, the lockdowns, our pursuit of war in Ukraine. And those things really concern me a lot, because we're going to be, you want to talk about having problems getting petroleum for your vehicle or for your home, depending on what you're looking for. If we go to war, they're going to push all those supplies and all those things out to the military, and they're going to get first priority, and the prices are going to skyrocket. And we're going to be in another quagmire for how many years, dealing with the same crap that we've been dealing with over and over again. I mean, this is why I want leadership to just curtail that problem. I would like even more bold. This is why I'm more libertarian. I'd love to see departments get audited, shut down. Department of Education, bye-bye. Homeland Security. These things are really redundant organizations. And then you've got, people inside these organizations who are running the show. This is why the overused term deep state is always out there, because it is a thing. It's just, what kind of deep state are you talking about? Is it a CIA deep state? Is it an FBI deep state? I mean, the whole thing from January the 6th, that appears to be orchestrated in a setup. And there's lots of evidence to at least make that point and provide people with some context when they're looking at what happened. These rallies, quite honestly, that were going on, though, weren't changing anybody's mind. They weren't going to change anybody's mind in Congress. In fact, because, the feds knew, some people are now calling it a Fedsurrection, which I think is really accurate. But the feds, they had this whole thing kind of mapped out, and I think Trump just walked into it. I think Trump has to be more careful in what, he promotes and does. Every time he goes out there, he's kind of inviting something bad to happen. So he needs to go to places where they can really lock it down and do security. Otherwise, he's just going to run into the same problems. Maybe he learned his lesson. So anyway, I wanted to do a video just to say, I guess, good job, Trump, for at least saying that these mandates and lockdowns are bad, and not being the salesperson for Pfizer, and talking straight to people and kind of channeling the anger that a lot of people have. Again, I'm not into the cult of Trump. I'm not one of those people that say, oh, Trump can do no wrong. But when he does something right, I'm going to talk about it. Again, I'd prefer Tulsi Gabbard. I'd prefer Ron DeSantis, but I think DeSantis needs to stay put in case this doesn't work out. The states are going to be more and more important. And then after that, I think we need to pursue like our own country's secession, I think, is a real thing. And I think you could get a group of states to go along with it. If you ask their citizens what, like Texas and Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, even though they've got a crazy governor there right now, I think if you ask the citizens, do you want to be a part of this federal, this experiment that, we tried for 200 plus years, I guarantee you the citizens are going to say, nope, I don't want to be in that anymore. I don't want them telling me how to live my life. That's the ultimate in giving sort of the libertarian middle finger to these people. And also, you're prioritizing, you're not kind of going off on these issues that many people don't care about. If you really want America first, or if you want the people first, if you want to ditch the whole idea of America as a concept, it's still the people first. That's why populism isn't a bad word, okay? And libertarianism can coexist with populism. It's not that, if you're thinking, oh, populism is just giving away stuff to people. No, I think populism is more about just listening to what people want you to do. And those people are just trying to pursue their dreams and their happiness. And they want the government out of their life. In fact, they want other people out of their life that can't mind their own business in general. That's what I'm finding out. This is why there's so many people out there right now that just don't like other people because they're just tired of other people being Karen in their life or saying stupid things politically they know nothing about, or the healthcare thing is the worst, where people are so misinformed on that you can't have a coherent conversation with them. And to just engage in that on a daily basis is, again, going to drive you insane. So good job, Trump. I'm not saying, I'm riding the Trump train again, but, if it comes down again in 24 to Trump and whatever else, if Biden is still around, if Kamala is, it could be Hillary. Heard last week that Hillary is starting to sharpen the knives. It's the only way I can describe it. I mean, she's going to have to go under the knife and have some facial surgery there and cut out some of those jowls that she has now. I mean, this is just not going to work out for her from, looking visually. I mean, Trump is no bargain at his age either. I mean, some women might find him attractive, but I think at this point in time, he was a good looking guy 20 or 30 years ago. I think now we're starting to see, he's just an older dude. And we do need some, that's why I love Tulsi, right? Tulsi's like 40, 41 years old, something like that. Tulsi Gabbard could run and win and be in the office for 2 terms and straighten out this country once and for all and try to make people work together again rather than all of this division, and not send our troops to the Ukraine or to Venezuela or wherever else they want to, remake the world in America's image. That's just my opinion. That's why I'm more libertarian. I'm tired of it. You want to do America first? That's a good America first. Keep your troops home. All right. We don't need to fight everybody's war. We just need to keep people here safe. And then we have to redefine what it means to keep people safe and how much of their liberty gets like vacuumed up in that process. We're learning the last 2 years that these people want to lock you down, and that's the natural state of things. And it's the new normal, and they're happy about it. Whereas at least Trump here pushed back to some degree. Keep in mind, all these things happened while he was the president. So we do have to hold him accountable for that. And at least you admit, like DeSantis, we thought this was bad. We started looking at the data and we decided to open up Florida for business. And I think I guess you can't have 50 laboratories of different kinds of government operating simultaneously anymore. You just can't have it because they're just so different from one another. And these states that are lockdown states are just dreary, horrible places to be right now. And people I know who live in these places are telling me, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. That's why I think we need a different United States that's not necessarily united. Call it the States of America or whatever you want to rename it. But there needs to be like freedom regions. And if you want the blue state garbage, you can go to your blue state and be, locked down and martial law and all that. If that's what you want, more power to you. Just go there and leave the rest of us out of it so we can do our own like Galt's Gulch, because I think that's really where, things are going in the next few years. So there you have it. That's my perspective on the Trump rally. Good job, Trump. Again, Trump might be the only thing that we've got. And if that's true, and I can't, I vote third party and all that. And someone said to me, it was kind of a wise ass message, but like, oh, that's great. Let's just start another party when, we've got all this turmoil. Well, a lot of people just look at the two parties as both corrupt, both doing the same thing. And if you had a mass exodus and some really smart people who knew what they were doing, and I would add to that serious people who aren't going to denigrate women, who aren't going to be, and that's my last video that I was talking about. You can't have a movement if you don't have serious people, adults, mature people. It can't be, let's get stoned and create a political party. It's got to be something meaningful and real. And so I'm open. I'm open to that still, but it's got to be a real alternative, and you got to focus on the big ticket issues. Otherwise, people are, again, going to go back to someone who has captivated the minds of this country and the hearts of this country for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and that would be Donald Trump. Again, not my first choice in doing that, but effective in some ways that, all of that political air and energy just gets sucked right out of the room when Trump walks into it. So just food for thought. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.